Hello everyone, my name is Bridgette Maria. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This particular video is going to focus on your body movement, shoulder movement, hip movement, rib cage isolation. This goes for bachata, salsa, any Latin dance that you're studying. A lot of my students are always trying to figure out how to move their body. And I wanted to create a video where they could practice at home in between lessons or classes, or someone who's just wanting to study that maybe doesn't live in the same city as me, that you can learn your shoulder movement, your rib cage isolations, your hip action. So I'm going to teach you a step-by-step way to practice at home your body movement. And then in another video, I will apply it to music. This will be just a breakdown of what is your body doing. So we're going to begin. Oh, and of course, if you get a chance, subscribe to my video and like it if you really enjoy it. So begin with your weight over your left foot. And what I want you to do, you can move in mirror image to me, and then I will also turn my back to you so you can see it from different viewpoints. Begin in what's called a second position. So second position is where my feet are apart. And it's really important when I'm doing body movement that I maintain good posture. That means my chest is lifted, my abdominal muscles are engaged. And all I want us to begin with is just bringing our arms up, rib cage level, just holding them up. And when you hold your arms, you want to hold your arms from your back muscle, okay, rather than your shoulders. And that comes from engaging the muscles right here, below the shoulder blades, and then also through the whole back. Your big back muscle, the latissimus dorsi, will be working a lot. And your rhomboids, your lats, and many of the muscles are going to be working a lot in your core and your back muscle. And that's how you're going to learn to move your body. So just begin with your arms up, rib cage level, and I want you just to take and bend your legs in a slight demi-plie. So we're going to bend the legs. It's different than ballet. If I was doing ballet, I would really externally rotate my hips at the hip socket, but because we're doing Latin, we're going to bend the legs, the knees are going to point forward, the feet slightly turned out. Like 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock is perfect reference for your toes. And then I want you just to bend your legs and move your rib cage to the side. So I want you to learn, a lot of people have trouble when they're first learning. How do I move the rib cage? Well, there's a couple ways, and I'm going to show you a couple ways to practice. If you cannot find it standing, there's a seated method that works almost for everyone. Even my most students who feel like they're really stiff, but usually they can find this action. So you're going to start by moving your shoulder over the rib cage and then moving your shoulder over the rib cage. So you're bending that leg, shoulder over the rib, you're using your back muscle, and then you're changing your weight over the leg. So I'm going to learn to move my rib cage over the bending leg. Okay, and what you can also do is bend both of your legs, and you're going to learn to move from one side to the other. One side to the other. And what you're going to do is you're going to press and move the rib cage over the bending leg. Press, move the rib cage over the bending leg. Now, if you cannot think of the legs that are bending, bend both legs and just practice moving, if it's your right rib cage or the left. And what you want to do is learn to press from, if you're moving your right rib, you'll press from the left side, move the rib cage. If you're moving the rib cage to the left, you're going to press from the right to move left. So you're using your rib over the bending leg each time. and then eventually you're going to incorporate the shoulder. But the most important thing, and I'll show you from a back view, is you're going to bend the legs, and you're going to then move from the right to the left, left to the right, and you're pressing, moving the rib, press, move the rib, and again, press, move the rib, press, move the rib. So each time you move, you have move, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. So you're learning how to begin your movement from the ribcage. That is so important for good technique in your Latin dance. Then I want you to incorporate the shoulder with the ribcage. And I'll show you this also seated in a chair at the end if you're having trouble finding this standing. So start in the second position again, feet turned out slightly at the hip. Bend the legs, and I want you to move your ribcage over your bending leg now. So if you're facing me, you will bend your right. Notice that it's the opposite hip that's lifting. The rib is over that bending leg, and your shoulder, you're going to roll it back as you do that movement. So watch, I'm going to begin from the rib, shoulder, and knee. Starting again, rib, shoulder, and knee. Rib, shoulder, knee. Rib, shoulder, knee. And you're not going to lift from here, you're going to lift from your back. And your shoulder is rolling backwards, like a figure 8. So rib, shoulder, knee. Rib, shoulder, knee. Rib, shoulder, knee. Rib, shoulder, knee. Okay, let's look at it from another angle. So watch this area here. I begin going to my right. It's rib, shoulder, bending leg, rib, shoulder, bending leg, rib, shoulder, bending leg, rib, shoulder, bending leg. So the opposite hip lifts to the leg that's bending. It begins with the rib, shoulder, and bending leg. Rib, shoulder, bending leg. Rib, shoulder, bend. Rib, shoulder, bend. And you want to learn to move from here, okay? So once you begin this feeling of understanding how to move from your rib cage, from the shoulders, because there's a figure 8 action that you use in the shoulders, the rib, and the hip, and they're all doing different actions. It's almost like an orchestra, that you have your violin, you have your piano, you have the drums, and then they come together to create this beautiful sound. And that's what the body is doing. The body is like an orchestra, even your eyelashes sometimes. But just start, second position. This is the best way to begin to find your body movement. First is ribs. For people who cannot feel this action, okay, let me just show you. Let me grab a chair, because I do this with many of my students who cannot find their ribs standing. So what you want to do is sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. So you want your feet flat. You want to pull up so your chest is lifted, your shoulders are going back. And this is for male or female dancer. Feet flat. And then what I want you to do is just lift your arms, hold your arms up from your back muscle. And I want you just to move the ribs side to side. So this is really good. You can even bring your hands down, do it this way. When you hold your arms up, it connects your back muscle and your core. So you're able to feel a little bit more what your body is doing. And you want to keep your pelvis on the chair, and you're just going to move rib side to side, rib side to side. This works for everybody I've ever worked with who cannot find their rib cage standing. This is a way to find it seated. And what you want to do is feel and memorize what muscles are working. What does that movement feel like? So when you begin standing, you can replicate it. And you can then add the shoulder with the rib, shoulder with the rib, shoulder with the rib. And in another video, I will add music to this, okay? This is awesome just to put music on at home and practice this over and over. The good thing about this movement is it tones your abdominal muscles and your back. That is the benefit of it. Okay, so this is for my students or students that cannot find the movement from a standing position. Once you feel what that feels like, then you're going to put it into your bachata basic, your salsa basic. But first I need to also practice moving forward, side, and back to apply it to my patterns of my dances, whatever dance I'm doing, cha-cha, bachata, salsa, rumba. So just a side action, if I'm going to move to the side, if you're mirroring me, you'll be moving to your right. You would begin with the rib over the bending leg, okay? And then you would close the leg. This is moving side together. Side, rib over the bending leg, and the leg that closes bends and takes the weight. So it's always opposite hip to opposite knee, okay? And then I would move to the other side. So I would go side, close, side. And I wanted to develop that rib over the bending leg on each step. So I have rib and knee, rib and knee, rib cage over knee. Okay, so that would be for a bachata basic. Side, close, side, and tap. Or if I'm just practicing moving side, side, close, side, and side, close, side. And notice that your hips are doing a little bit of a figure eight. The female dancer will do more figure eight. The male dancer will do more side. So male dancer is more side, side, side. Female dancer is more figure eights. You're gonna add more lifting on the hip and pulling up using more of your oblique muscles in your back. Makes it very beautiful. Then you need to go forward and back. So what I would do is start in a third foot position. Actually, let me turn around. I want you to see the side from the back view before I move into forward and back. So when I move to the side, I want to make sure that the rib cage is going over the bending leg. I close and side, okay? And then I would move to the other side. Rib cage over bending leg, close, side. So if I'm doing male dancer, it's side to side, like this. If I'm doing female dancer, I'm going to do more figure eights with the hips and a little more lifting up using the oblique and the back muscle to create a more beautiful figure eight action with the hip. Okay? And last but not least is forward and back, because all of our patterns are made up of 4 directions. Forward, back, side, side. So if I move forward, I would start in a third foot position, and I want to move my rib over the bending leg. So if I start with my left, if you're mirroring me, you would be right foot. You slide the foot, the ball of the foot on the floor with a turned out foot, putting your weight over the bending leg. Pass through, step again, put your weight over the bending leg. So the rib cage leads over that bending leg. Rib cage over the bending leg. Rib cage over the bending leg. And you want to have your feet slightly turned out. I'll turn around and walk this direction. So I would start rib cage over bending leg, rib cage over bending leg, so I'm gonna push my weight and push my weight, push my weight, push my weight. Okay, so watch one more time. So I'll start here, stepping forward, bending the leg, leading with the rib. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Now for going backwards. Backwards is a little bit more tricky. So what I would do is start with your feet together. Just start changing your knees, bending the right, ribcage over that, bending the left, the right. Once you get that coordination going in your body, start to move back with one of the feet. So if it's your right or left, bending that leg, step back again, and it's always opposite hip to the bending leg. Opposite hip. So if I'm stepping back with the left, the right hip. The best way to do it is to bring the rib cage over the leg that's bending. Okay, I'm going to turn around so you can see. So I would start first just bending my legs, changing weight from right foot to left, from right to left. And then I slowly start to step back and back. And I want to get my weight over the leg, and make sure that the step size is very small. And I always am walking in foot positions. I'm going to do a separate video in foot positions. So whenever I'm dancing, my feet are in a particular position, always slightly turned out so the hip can externally rotate. If your feet are parallel, it limits your hip action. So your feet have to be slightly turned out, but not like ballet, because that would be, the knees would be in the wrong position for Latin dance. So we want to always be aware of where are our feet, where are our knees, where's the rib over the bending leg, where's the shoulder. But then once you have the feel, it is second nature, because your body will remember what it's supposed to do, and you won't have to think about it so much. So today's lesson is shoulder, rib cage, shoulder, bending leg. Practice this over and over, again and again, so you learn how to move from the rib and shoulder, knee, rib, shoulder, knee. And always the opposite hip lifts to the bending leg. Really important. And my feet have to be slightly turned out. Whenever I travel direction, forward, back, side, do not lift your feet above the floor. Slide your feet on the floor, because as dancers, we get kinetic energy from the floor, how we use our feet with the floor, how we bend our legs. So it's really important, my connection with the floor, and how I use my feet from ball of the foot to heel, always in Latin dance, from the ball of the foot to the heel, whatever direction I'm going. So if I'm doing a salsa basic, applying the rib over the bending leg, I want to roll through my feet. If I'm doing bachata basic, I want to roll through my feet and apply all the movement that we just talked about. I will do another video on how to do it, the movement with the music. Thank you so much for joining me. Bridgette Maria. This is my dance channel and music channel. Please subscribe and like to my channel. Thank you so much.